Good day, Science 1A. I am Ganuel J. Barcival, and together with Althea Joy Desena, we will discuss the lesson 3 of Module 4 entitled The Women and the Law. So, first, let's define these terms. The 1987 Constitution. It is the fundamental law of the country upon which all the laws are anchored or based on. The 1987 Constitution of the Republic of the Philippines is the fundamental law that serves as the supreme legal authority in the country. It was promulgated on February 2, 1987, following the People Power Revolution that ousted the authoritarian regime of President Ferdinand Marcos. This constitution replaced the 1973 Constitution and re-established democratic governance in the Philippines. Next is the Magna Carta of Women, the main law enriching all the rights of women and the rules in building the nation. And, of course, nation building. It is the collaborative efforts and means to establish and develop the country. So the Magna Carta for Women refers to Republic Act number 9710 in the Philippines, enacted in 2009. It aims to eliminate discrimination against women by recognizing, protecting, fulfilling, and promoting their rights. And of course, in various situations, this law helps women by ensuring equal opportunities in employment, addressing gender-based violence, and promoting their active participation in all spheres of society. For example, it can provide legal recourse for a woman facing workplace discrimination or violence, helping her assert her rights and seek justice. Okay, next. So the Philippines is known for its very liberal and progressive constitution that was formulated during the euphoria of People Power Revolution in 1986. So as we remember, the People Power Revolution is the one so it is the one that forced the regime of Ferdinand Marcos to be held away out of the government in 1986. Gender equality is a key element of this charter and as enshrined in Article 2, Section 14 of the 1987 Constitution. It states that the state recognizes the role of women in nation building and shall ensure the fundamental equality before the law of women and men. So this Article 2, Section 14 of the 1987 Constitution of the Philippines acknowledges the important role of women in the nation-building process. It asserts the commitment of the state to guarantee fundamental equality before the law for both women and men. This constitutional provision emphasizes the principle of gender equality, affirming that women should have the same legal rights and protections as men, laying this foundation for a more inclusive and just society. So, considering the unequal gender relations in the country, the Constitution further provided for women representation as one of the nine marginalized sectors in the legislature through the party list system, which should cover 20% of the lower house. So, when we say marginalized sectors, they are the groups daw daw ara sa do wala lang sila ginasapak or wala sang importansya or wala sila gina-priority. So the Constitution acknowledges that women, as a historically marginalized group, may face specific challenges and inequities. This provision is intended to ensure that various groups, including women, who may face social, economic, or political marginalization have a voice in the legislative process. The party list system allows these marginalized sectors to have dedicated representation, advocating for their interests and concerns within the government. So next. Finally, Article 13, Section 14 specifically mentioned that the state shall protect women or shall protect working women by providing safe and healthful working conditions, taking into account their maternal functions and such facilities and opportunities that will enhance their welfare and enable them to realize their full potential in the service of the nation. So when we say safe and healthful working conditions, it is the state that is mandated to ensure that workplaces provide safe and healthy conditions for women. This involves measures to protect them from occupational hazards and to maintain an environment conducive to their physical and mental well-being, and of course for their maternal functions. So the provision recognizes the unique role of women in reproduction and emphasizes that working conditions should take into account their maternal functions. So this so this may include provisions for maternity leave, breastfeeding facilities, and other considerations that accommodate the needs of women during and after pregnancy, and the facilities and opportunities. So the state is also committed to providing facilities and opportunities that enhance the welfare of working women. This could involve initiatives such as child care facilities, flexible work arrangements, or other support mechanisms that enable women to balance their work and family responsibilities. So next is this specific provision serves as basis to several legislations about women. As a result, laws of women became aplenty, anchored from constitutional provisions mentioned. The lack or sufficiency of these specific provisions depends on the existing and current need of the country. Next. Okay. The legal framework provided for by the 1987 Constitution results to various legislations promoting gender equality. These legislations include the following. So first is the Local Government Code of 1991. It provides for election of sectoral representation including women in local legislative councils. So this means that specific seats within these councils are reserved for representatives from different sectors of society, ensuring diverse voices are heard in local governance. So, for example, today is a municipality may have a local legislative council, and within this council, there might be seats designated for representatives of various sectors. So, kung may mga representatives from farmers, from indigenous people, and of course, there should have a representative for women. So, women as a sector would have the opportunity to elect or be elected to represent their interests in the local legislative process. This provision aims to enhance inclusivity in decision making at the local level by giving marginalized or underrepresented groups, including women, a direct role in shaping local policies and programs. So next is the party list law. It provides for the creation of women-oriented or women-based parties to compete under the party list system. Women is one of the 9 sectors identified in the law. So the party list law in the Philippines allows for the creation of political parties that specifically focus on women's issues or represent women's interests. This means that women-oriented or women-based parties can participate in the electoral process, compete under the party list system, and potentially secure seats in the legislature. The intent is to ensure that women have dedicated representation in the government, allowing for the advocacy of policies and initiatives that address gender-specific concerns and promote women's rights. This provision aims to enhance the political participation of women and contribute to a more inclusive and representative political landscape. And last but not the least, the Labor Code or Labor Code 1989. So covers the issues such as night work prohibition, specifies that employers must provide special facilities for women, prohibition of discrimination against women in respect to terms and conditions of employment, and prohibition of discrimination by reasons of marriage of of a woman worker. So, in this Labor Code of the Philippines enacted in 1989, it includes provisions aimed at protecting the rights of women in the workplace. The mentioned aspects convey the following. So, sa night work prohibition, so this provision typically restricts the employment of women during specific night hours to safeguard their well-being and acknowledge the potential challenges and safety concerns associated with night work. So if a woman work at night, so may ara sang specific lang nga night hours na pwede sila mag-obra. Above that is hindi na sila pwede mag-obra to safeguard their well-being. Next is the special facilities for women. So employers are required to provide special facilities for women in the workplace. So these facilities could include spaces for breastfeeding, rest areas, or other accommodations that cater to the specific needs of female employees. And next is the prohibition of discrimination. So this code explicitly prohibits discrimination against women concerning the terms and conditions of employment. This encompasses equal pay for equal work, opportunities for training and promotion, and fair treatment in all employment related matters. Next is prohibition of discrimination based on marriage. So employers are prohibited from discriminating against women workers based on their marital status. So this ensures that women are not unfairly treated or disadvantaged in the workplace due to being married. So these prohibitions in the labor code are designed to create a work environment that is considerate of the unique needs of women, promotes gender equality, and prohibits discriminatory practices in terms and conditions of employment, including those related to night work and marital status. Next. Wait lang. So, Women in Nation Building Law. So, it is Republic Act 7192, enacted in 1991. Is an act promoting the integration of women as full and equal partners of men in development and nation building. The law provides the law sorry The law provides that a substantial portion of government resources be utilized to support programs and activities for women. The law also encourages the full participation and involvement of women in the development process and to remove gender bias in all government regulations and procedures. In relation to gender budgeting, the law specifically mandated all agencies to allocate a minimum of 5%, increasing to 30% of all official development funds in mainstreaming gender concerns. So the Women in Nation Building Law in the Philippines, it is dedicated to promoting gender equality. It mandates the allocation of a significant portions of government resources for programs supporting women. So the law encourages the full participation of women in development. It aims to eliminate gender bias in government regulations and specifically mandates agencies to allocate a minimum of 5%, increasing to 30% of official development funds for gender responsive initiatives through gender budgeting. Overall, the law reflects a commitment to integrating women as equal partners in the nation building process. Okay, so next is the 1988 Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Law. Lang. The 1988 Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Law gave Filipino women the right to own land that previously reverted to sons and other family members. So, with the enactment of this law, the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Law in the Philippines marked a significant step toward gender equality and land ownership. Ownership. So prior to this law, land that was subject to agrarian reform and distributed to eligible beneficiaries often reverted to sons or other male family members, excluding women from land ownership. So, sad to, ang mga law owners, so, ginapa, ginadistribute nila ang ila land sa ilang mga bata or ginapamana lang nila ang land sa ilang mga bata nga lalaki or male family members. So, wala nila ginapamana sa mga babae ang mga land nila. So, with the enactment of this law, the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Law, Filipino women gained the right to own land that was part of the agrarian reform process. This means that women were no longer excluded or overlooked in the distribution of agricultural land. The law aimed to correct gender based disparities in land ownership, ensuring that women have an equal opportunity to own and cultivate agricultural land, contributing to their economic empowerment and social inclusion. So next is the Republic Act 7688 enacted in 1994, an act giving representation to women in Social Security Commission. So this act provides representation for women in the Social Security Commission, ensuring that women's perspectives are considered in policies related to Social Security. So for example, during the formulation of a government policy on Social Security, women actively participate in discussions, influencing decisions to address specific needs and concerns. Next is the Anti-Sexual Harassment Law of Republic Act 7877 enacted in 1995, an act declaring sexual harassment to be unlawful in the employment, education, or training environment. So this law declares sexual harassment unlawful in the employment, education, or training environment, protecting individuals from unwelcome advances or behavior. So, for example, in a workplace, a female employee facing persistent unwelcome advances uses RA 7877 to file a complaint, triggering an investigation and potential disciplinary action against the harasser. Next is the Republic Act 7822 enacted in 1995, an act providing assistance to women engaging in micro and cottage business enterprises. So this act provides assistance to women engaging in micro and cottage business enterprises, recognizing the importance of supporting women entrepreneurs on small scale businesses. So for example, a woman in a rural area starts a micro enterprise weaving traditional textiles. So the RA 7822 allows her to access government assistance programs for financial and technical support. And last but not the least, the Republic Act 8353 enacted in 1997, an act expanding the definition of the crime of rape but classifying the same as a crime against persons. So this law expands the definition of the crime of rape, reclassifying it as a crime against person, aiming to prevent sexual violence. So in a situation, a survivor of sexual assault reports the crime, and RA 8353 ensures that the legal system recognizes various forms of sexual violence, leading to comprehensive prosecution and protection of the survivor's rights. So, in conclusion, for my discussion, laws about women are crucial for promoting gender equality and protecting women's rights. So, these laws aim to prevent discrimination, ensure equal opportunities, and address issues like domestic violence, harassment, and reproductive rights by establishing and enforcing the rights and law of women. So that's all for my report. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening. So let me pagali. So these laws not only promote gender equality but also gives protection to women's rights and enhances women empowerment. The law listed above should always be remembered since there are the basic laws on women's rights and women empowerment. Women's rights and women empowerment are very important to the Philippine society as this ensures inclusive growth and development of our country. So that's all. Thank you so much.